Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Football Commentaries Podcast. Yes, we have made it that far. We've lost a guest, unfortunately, for today's episode. Ben is not here, so we are stuck again with Harvey, who's been on every episode. 100% record. Good. He's here again. And we've got Kenzie the Bottle Job, who's here as well, who can't argue for Foden to save his life.
Well then.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right, anyway, so today's episode we're going to go over a few topics like we always do. We're going to discuss PFA Player of the Year, who it would be or who would you choose if the season were to end now. Discuss some of the best comebacks in football, because there's actually quite a few when I did a bit of research on it. And then after that we'll just see where the conversation leads, because who knows? The conversation will go anywhere. So, and as well, we are in lockdown, where we are in England for another 3 weeks. So, guaranteed podcasts are still going to be out for the next 3 weeks. Guaranteed. Because you've got nothing else to do. So, that's guaranteed. There's going to be a special one. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but me and Kenzie are going to just do one about Scottish football, because he supports Rangers, and I don't know much about Scottish football. I've only just been getting into it, so that'll be interesting. Don't know when it'll be uploaded, so you might have 3 podcasts in a week, some week, I don't know when, so look forward to that. Subscribe, do all that stuff. Don't want to really mention that too often, and we'll get started. So, before I announce the player nominees to the people, obviously I've already told you who they are. Who would you give it to straight away without even looking at any stats or just going off performances you've seen? Who would you go for? Who would you kind of gravitate towards?
I think Mane's done well this season.
Yeah, big fan of Mane.
I think he's had a very good season.
Yeah.
So I think for me he's up there.
Yeah, 14 goals this season, 7 assists, 6th top goal scorer. Obviously, it's quite close in the top goal scorers ranking. There's like 3 goals between 6th and 1st. So, can't really go much off that. But yeah, Mane, he is I don't know why. It's just I'm not a big fan of too many Liverpool players. But Mane is always one that if I could take a Liverpool player, I'd more likely pick like Mane. Because it's just something like with Salah, like yes, he's a good player. You can get goals from him, but I feel like with Mane, it's kind of more guaranteed. He's just got that more of a killer instinct in front of goal.
Yeah,
it's like every shot he puts on, you feel like he's gonna score. But with Salah, he does some of those snapshots. Sometimes he rushes things. But with Mane, it's like if you get him in the right position and he has the right angle, it's going to go in. Yeah. So, yeah, I completely agree with Mane. What is it about Mane? What do you think his best attributes are? Maybe not over this season, but maybe just as a player. What do you think really makes him like the player he is, if you know what I mean?
I think he can score goals for Liverpool. I think certain times in games where they've needed a goal to get back into a game or take a lead, and I think whereas last season it was Salah, I think Mane's taken more of the front role in that.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because he has scored quite a few, not obviously important goals, but ones that have got him on track. Because I remember Newcastle, they went behind, and like Mane scored like 2 before the half even ended, got him straight back in front. I think Norwich as well, he scored in that game. It was 0-0 until like the late 70 minutes. And he scored that goal to put him ahead, and But I think Mane, I think his growth has been quite gradual, but now he's starting to really rocket.
Yeah.
Quickly, like how good of a player he's actually becoming. Because we've always known how quick he is, the quality he has. But I feel like over literally the last 2 years, during the last season where they got 97 points in this season, I think he's really took off.
Yeah.
With Mane as well, what I like as well is I feel like you can literally put him in any front three and he will start and he will,
Yeah.
perform the same. It's like some players,
Yeah.
like they're in the front three and they need certain players around them to work. So, the Liverpool front three, you've got Firmino and Salah, and people say that Firmino kind of, glues everything together, which I agree with. But I feel like Mane doesn't need that. I feel like Mane, no matter what team he's in, however they play, he can adapt and he can play at his strongest. So yeah, I'd agree with Mane. Obviously, I think he's African Player of the Year, or he was given it for 2019. I think so that shows obviously the kind of respect he has back in his own continent. So yeah, Sadio Mane, he is on that top three. I wonder how you knew that. Kenzie, who would you go with? I feel like I know who you're going to say, but
I'll go for Kevin De Bruyne.
Whoa, what? How come?
Yeah, he's just been unbelievable this season. He's literally been like no one can stop him. The amount of assists he's got in
16.
in the game that he's played,
16 in the league.
It's mental, and he's not just an assist king either. He can score as well.
8 goals. Yeah.
Wait, how many games have you played?
26 appearances, 8 goals, 16. This is all in the Premier League, by the way. 23 big chances created as well.
That in the Premier League, the top division, and from a central attacking midfielder is just mental.
Yeah, that's like an assist every 2 games and a goal every 3 games.
I know, and it just shows his class. Like the goal against Newcastle.
Oh, that got goal.
That was unbelievable.
That was. That's when City needed something as well. Obviously, I know it didn't add up to anything in the end because Newcastle scored late on. But I remember watching that game and I thought, God, we're not going to score here. We can't break them through. And then just a bit of magic like that, which I feel like De Bruyne, you can rely on. Just that little bit of magic that you might need by a certain player. I feel like De Bruyne brings that. But that goal against Newcastle was insane.
Ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
Shelby scored a good goal as well, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
That goal was different.
Yeah.
The way he caught
that Shelby goal as well, that was good. Yeah. It's annoying that it felt like that goal deserved to be like a match winner. If you know what I mean. It deserved that kind of like that label and respect, but obviously John Joe Shelby decided to do a decent goal of his own. So it's fair enough to Shelby, but with De Bruyne, obviously, over the last few seasons, he's obviously been hit by injury problems. Kenzie, I'm going to ask you because you go to City games. Do you feel like when he was coming back from injury, do you felt like the injuries had an effect on him? Or do you feel like
games, obviously, he's slower than normal, but then when he gets back to his full strength and he's not had an injury for a while, he just becomes unbelievable again.
Yeah, because that's the thing with De Bruyne. It's quite unfortunate. It's like when he has a bad game, you can really notice because you were so used to him being at such a high standard, and like him just being like the best, like being man of the match every game. When he does have that off game, he kind of gets a lot of stick for it in a way. Or like, I definitely.
He don't give the ball away a lot. Like it's not that. It's like he's just not there. Like he's non-existent. Like.
Yeah, and then when he does get the ball, like the passes he chooses to do, like his decision making, I'm just kind of like, why, like normal De Bruyne wouldn't do that. It's like he almost becomes a bit too like he tries too many intricate balls that won't work instead of sometimes just keeping it simple. So
I think sometimes as well with De Bruyne, he gets really unlucky. Like in game, when he'll try and put a good cross in and it gets blocked.
Yeah, but if it just got through,
if that weren't blocked and it went through, we could probably get a goal off it nearly every time because he does the same ball. It's just like he's like a bit further back, like near like it's hard to explain. It's just like 30 yards out, like on the right side. And
on the angle,
the ball in, and you're like, how has he even done that?
Yeah, because when he gets in that position, you know straight away that there's going to be a dangerous ball coming in. Because I always remember that season, when we got 100 points, and I feel like that was his peak season.
Ball against Stoke.
That Stoke, yes.
Yeah.
That should not have been allowed. That was so good. Like, it was just the perfect pace, placement. everything about that pass was just amazing.
I think that was to Sane, wasn't it?
I think it's to Sane or Jesus. I think there was.
It was Sane.
I think it was Sane. Yeah, because I know there's one the season after against Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final. He did like a similar ball, like just whipped it across, and that was within like 3 minutes of the game. You know, to be on it straight away that quickly, I feel like that's also been a positive of his. Like how it doesn't take him a while to get into the game. Sometimes it does. Obviously, it takes everybody. But majority of the time, he's on it straight away.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a fantastic asset to have because that puts you leaps and bounds above your opponents if you're more switched on than them. So yeah, De Bruyne, I would 100% agree with that. I think he's been incredible. This is just a question for both of you, whoever wants to answer. Obviously, Mourinho was in charge at the time when he was at Chelsea. Do you feel like the Mourinho just didn't see anything in him, or do you think it was just Mourinho being stubborn and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to use you, so you might as well go"? Or do you think genuinely he thought, this kid might not actually end up being any good"? Or,
well, I mean, if you think about
Mourinho?
If you think about it, like the Chelsea team that he had there at that time, it weren't a bad side.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But I feel like he could have maybe snuck into that side because that was when Lampard was just coming to the end.
Yeah.
This time and become more of like a holding player than being that like attacking midfield force.
I normally defend Mourinho quite a lot, but like on that thing with like he got rid of Lukaku and De Bruyne, was it?
Yeah.
And Salah as well.
Salah. Yeah, but Salah wasn't ready for the Prem. You could just see his body shape and all that. He was like a twig. So I could see that.
Yeah. So that you can definitely tell he's being stubborn and he just doesn't want to play in the youth. Don't want to risk any games.
Yeah.
Whereas that's the difference between Pep and Mourinho. Like Pep has faith in his youth. 100%. Mourinho doesn't really.
Well, I think that's mainly because the way they were both brought up as players. I know Mourinho wasn't much of a player, so that might be why. He was never, took on as a youth player, never maybe trusted at youth level, to get that breakthrough. But obviously Guardiola, that's how he got his career, coming through the Barcelona ranks, starting young, being like a ball boy, and then eventually getting into, playing in the first team himself. So I feel like that's why Guardiola's so open for youth players, because that's how his career started. So he feels like, well, if I do it for the same players, to give back. Yeah. So if I do it to that player, then they might have a similar chance to what I had to have that kind of career. But it's just like how good De Bruyne is. It's hard to see that he didn't see maybe just anything in him to keep him. Obviously, there might have been some disagreements, or they might have just not got along, which happens in football.
Yeah. Well, that's what the big question was. Like when he left Chelsea, and did he go back to Genk or did he go to Wolfsburg?
I think it was Werder Bremen first.
Oh, Werder Bremen, then Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
And then he got, was it Bundesliga Player of the Year? I think he got Bundesliga Player of the Year or Player of the Month or something.
Yeah, he may have.
And then when City signed it, it was like a big question. Like, is he going to perform? Have we paid too much for him?
And that million, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then that first season, it was insane.
Yeah, he's really good. Because I remember watching him at Wolfsburg, and I was like, this guy's all right. And, maybe not Chelsea level, but he's a good player. And then the more I saw him play, I was like, yeah, no, this guy's good. And then I saw City in for him, and we signed him. I was like, right, if he can live up to the potential that I can see in him, and that everyone else was talking about, then he can really become a top player. And obviously he has. But that must be a massive regret of maybe not Mourinho, but maybe Chelsea not keeping him. Because imagine a De Bruyne now in that Chelsea team of
Mason Mount,
kind of like the 2014-15 season. That way they had that prime Hazard, and they won that league. Oh man.
Well, I think maybe if De Bruyne was still there and he was assisting Hazard might have stayed a bit longer.
If they had, because they didn't have big enough names, I don't think.
Also,
to attract Hazard to stay.
Hazard and De Bruyne are both Belgium, aren't they? So they'll know each other.
Yeah.
And also Courtois. Courtois was like,
He was there as well. Yeah.
yeah.
I just find it interesting how someone who's become so good was just let go so easily. Like we say that about
Yeah.
Sancho, but De Bruyne's just a different level of player completely. So unless it was just a matter of fact that over time, maybe back then there was no potential to me, you just couldn't see it, and maybe just over the years he's just learned the game better and just become this better player. So obviously there's arguments for both sides.
Well, obviously, City's coaching staff would have helped him a lot because
Oh yeah,
we're known
massively,
for
yeah,
like the
100%.
academy and stuff like that. We're known for like a good development team.
And as well, De Bruyne became like a properly spoken player, like one of the best when Guardiola came through. 'Cause I feel like Guardiola's style really suited De Bruyne massively. So and then that's when like, those I never used to see him do those kind of crosses across the box. Guardiola comes in and starts pinging these balls left, right, and centre, doing these incredible passes, and we kind of I remember looking at him going, "Where's this come from? Where's this been?"
Yeah, but you could. That's what I thought about Sterling when Sterling first joined. It was he signed for Pellegrini.
Yeah.
It was like 50 million or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was similar. Yeah, it was.
He was awful in the first season. He was awful.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, "Oh, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money." And then Pep comes in, and he must have said something to him or done something with him. And next season, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, because I don't know inside information, but the amount of time Guardiola must have spent with Sterling, learning positioning in the box, when to pass it to people, when to take on people,
and composure, because he always used to flap it when he came 1-on-1. He always used to flap it. He still does a bit now.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say he still has his moments of flapping for sure. Because that's still just the one. That's literally the one annoying thing I could say about Sterling. His composure still sometimes just goes missing. It's like I just remember this one very just fondly. It was Liverpool in the Community Shield. He got through. He was 1-on-1 with Alisson. No one behind him, and Walker was to the side of him, absolutely run like a madman.
I remember this.
That, and then he just stopped. It's like he just completely froze. The ball got stuck under his feet. He took too many touches, and then chance was gone. And it's like literally, if he just had the composure to just think, "Oh, I know Walker's to the left of me," and just literally play a 5-yard pass to him, it's a goal. That shouldn't be that hard, but he just made it look like the hardest pass ever, or just slot it past Alisson maybe. But he literally just froze on the ball, and he still does it sometimes. And I'm just like, he needs to just try and get that out of his game if he can, because that was a serious problem that sometimes. Because like, he was missing blatant. It wasn't just like some players might have done the same. He was just missing literally goal scoring opportunities. But when we say that, we mean literally they should be goals.
Yeah, but that's what I mean with Sterling. It's a weird one because he can create goals like out of nowhere, but then he can also miss like open nets. Like I remember one that he missed. Jesus had a penalty, and I think it hit off the post and came to Sterling's feet, and he hit it and it went over. I was like, how are you missing there?
Yeah.
There's no one around you. And you're in the penalty box. How are you missing? It went over as well. We're even on target.
Yeah.
How is he missing?
That's the one. Can't have Sterling, just his composure. But obviously he was up for PFA Player of the Year, wasn't he? During that, he's been in talks. Best player in the Prem over those last 2 seasons. Obviously this season he's not really been on it. As a City fan again, Kenzie, I'm just going to come to you. What do you think? Because obviously as City fan, we've criticised him especially over like since New Year. What do you think gone wrong for him? Because there's something that's gone wrong there. Because he's just not the same player. Do you think?
Who's Sterling?
Yeah. Do you think there's a certain game, or maybe just a gradual thing where he's just, you know what I mean? His performances have just kind of disintegrated a little bit. Do you think there's any reason for that, or?
I don't know because, like, I don't feel like there's a reason for it, but there may be a reason for it.
Yeah, that we might not know or have no information on.
Yeah,
that is true. Go on.
I'm not sure. It's just a weird one.
No, it is because I remember that, it was like from the start of the season to about November. He was same form. Getting in those positions in the 6-yard box and the 18-yard box, tapping them away, and then all of a sudden he's just not scoring.
Yeah, and then the most annoying thing, like the game against Real Madrid, he was like when he came on, he was mad. He was playing good.
Yeah. The way he was,
And then this happens, so it looked like he was getting back into form, and then this happens.
Maybe a break might be good for him. Obviously,
He got dropped, didn't he? He got dropped. Pep dropped him for a few games.
Yeah, because it got to a point where we were saying, I'd rather Mahrez play than Sterling. Like, because Mahrez is quite the exciting player, and he's been really good for City this season.
I think Mahrez has got a shot for PFA Player of the Year this season because he's been unbelievable this season. Mahrez, he's totally changed around.
I can see where you're coming from. Obviously, I feel like he needs to have more of an impact to be in that category. But for sure, like, if it wasn't for him this season, we wouldn't have. A lot of the chances we've created wouldn't have happened because he just runs at players, which City players don't really do. Obviously, Guardiola's philosophy, passing it about, but he actually one that will take it into his own hands and go, you know what, let me have a run at the defenders, and then that just causes loads of problems because then the defenders are like, oh well, City don't really do this, and they don't really know how to defend it.
That's what I mean. I feel like it's good to have one of them players in your squad because if they do that, then the defenders, like, if he's running at you at that speed with his tricky feet, his feet are rapid.
Exactly.
You don't know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. Because a prime example of that was Sheffield United when we won that penalty that was saved by Henderson when he was miles off his line. The dribbling he did to get that penalty was insane. It was ridiculous.
Bernardo Silva can do that as well sometimes. Like he's really good with his feet. He's just not as quick.
That's the only annoying thing with Bernardo Silva. Say if he had just had a bit more pace.
I feel like Bernardo Silva is so much better in central midfield or central. He's just so much better.
Because he played there quite a bit for Monaco as well, that central role. I feel like he has a bit more freedom there. He's not stuck on the wing in a way. He's got like the whole pitch to kind of like assess.
Yeah, I feel like when he's on the wing, he's like. He's not really involved in the game much.
Yeah, and he's like he does the same thing. Cut onto his left and look for that ball, and then it doesn't work. Then just goes back to the right back or something like that. It's just frustrating.
Over again. That's why mostly when we've got Ronaldo on the right, we do play down Sterling's wing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's just quicker and there's more stuff to do down that wing.
It's just mad talking about some of these players like Bernardo Silva and Sterling and just realising how quickly, because obviously them two were also up for like Player of the Years and all that, weren't they? Like 2 seasons ago. It's just funny how they can change so quick some seasons.
Yeah, I think Bernardo Silva's first. I think he was in that season.
Yeah, the first. Yeah, I think every City player was. I don't think that in that 100-point season, I don't think there's one player that you can go. They didn't really play great for City. Even Otamendi had a good season, and that is saying something. If he's having a good season. So, yeah. But moving on anyway, we've kind of got a bit sidetracked, but, it still links, so it's okay. And then, right, we're going to... I'll list the three now, and I'll list them by who the bookies thought was going to win it more likely to in terms of odds. So we're going to go in that order. We won't discuss them all because we've discussed two of them. There's just one we haven't discussed who we'll discuss now. I'll go from third to first. So, because you don't know the first one, because we haven't mentioned them. So, third was De Bruyne, obviously. Number 2 was Sadio Mane. And number 1 was, in fact, Jordan Henderson. I think we'll all have something to say on this one. Jordan Henderson, obviously, Liverpool captain into 2 Champions League finals, one they won. Captain into a Premier League, pretty much. Let's not, take the mic. They pretty much won that Prem. Obviously not mathematically, but they were definitely on the way. Proper leader. You can tell the difference when he's not in the team because obviously they lost that Watford game. They were a bit shaky in the West Ham game that he wasn't playing in. Do you think he deserves Player of the Year, like the best? Is that a bit of a stretch?
Yep.
Why? I know why, but I mean I want to just know reasons because obviously there's going to be arguments for both sides. That's what I hear.
Obviously, you can say he's a good leader and like he's captain Liverpool in like 2 Champions League finals. But what has he actually done? Like he doesn't score many, doesn't assist many. He's just like he just defends, and sometimes he's not really the best of defenders. Like they've got Van Dijk at the back.
That is true. I'd counter that and kind of say I don't know what side Harvey's on. I'll ask in a minute, but obviously what really impresses me about Jordan Henderson straight away is his long passing, his long
He's
those
good
over
at
the top.
passing.
Yeah, because some of those passes he does that leads to goals. So many goals of Liverpool's this season would not have happened if it wasn't for his crossfield ball to maybe one of the fullbacks or a ball straight over to Mane. Because that Norwich one that I was talking about, Mane's goal, that was a Henderson ball, just pinged over the top. So many of Liverpool's goals would not have happened if it wasn't for Henderson's passing. I'm not even just saying that to kind of try and balance the argument, but genuinely, so many his passing is a joke sometimes. But like you said, 3 goals, which from a right centre mid position, because obviously Fabinho plays holding. 3 goals, 5 assists, not bad. And in fact, I thought this is interesting. All 3 of his goals have one on his right foot, one on his left foot, and one is a header. So
that's all right.
That would be the perfect hat trick if they were all in one game. Like I was saying, 101 accurate long balls. That is a lot. To put that into perspective, De Bruyne's only done 82 of them. So that shows, obviously that's more Jordan Henderson's game, those kind of passes. But, still putting it into a bit of a comparison there. Harvey, where you stand on this? Henderson, is he that good?
You see, I think I can understand why people are saying should be, but I do think that there are other players are contending with him could win that over. So I do think that they really good season as well. But I can understand why people are saying Henderson, but I think sometimes, obviously he was out of the Watford game in the West Ham game, and Liverpool missed him there.
Massively, yeah.
I do think that Mane's been brilliant, and De Bruyne as well, but I don't know whether I'd give it him. I don't think I'd give it him.
I think he definitely deserves a worthy mention for sure. I think we can all agree on that. He definitely, because from what he's become as from Liverpool, obviously he came in about, I think it was 2011 from Sunderland, took over Gerrard captaincy, which was a massive step because that could have really gone wrong for him, and he's kind of took it in his stride a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him in the top 5 for the season because he has been good. We can't deny it. Yeah. But I just feel like you're saying you heavily blame going back to Mane, which I agree with. He's a fantastic season. Do you feel like as well? It's kind of, I think Henderson's getting all this recognition because usually those kind of players don't get it as often. Because obviously De Bruyne, he's in that attacking midfield role. He's going to get all the assists and all the goals. Mane, attacker, gonna get all the goals. But for Henderson, kind of playing that defensive-minded midfield kind of role, it's going to be harder for him to get those goals and assists. So do you feel like because he's that kind of player, people are going, right, can we change it up now and actually recognise these players who play in these positions?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think when I watch Jordan Henderson, I just don't see a spark. I don't see what's good about him. Obviously he's good at doing the basic stuff, but when it comes to like more, it's hard to explain. But I just don't see spark.
Yeah, I get what you mean by you don't see the spark. There's no excitement watching Jordan Henderson. There's not much where you go, well, that was good, or that was a moment in the game that we'll talk about later on. It's kind of just like you say, he just does the basics. But sometimes in the position he plays, there's a lot of players who play in the similar positions who can't get the basics right consistently, but he does. That kind of maybe highlights him a bit. Sorry, what you say?
He's a bit like Fernandinho.
I was going to mention that when he played
people don't see a spark in him, but he does the basic stuff well.
Yeah, that, for sure. I feel like for Henderson though, his position, to a certain extent, I feel like the most important part of his position is to do the basics in a way, and anything he does extra is just a bonus in a sense. Obviously he covers a lot of ground. He runs a lot. He loves running.
Yeah, I do like his work.
again, it's the fact that and as well, you got to remember the fact that he's favourite to or was favourite to win it as well. Like that's he's not just in the top three and the people can do their own top threes and decide, where he'd like he is people's number one, which I understand to a certain degree because he has had a good season, but I mean, like Kenzie said, like I don't see what people are actually raving about. Is it because he's English, maybe? Because, like Kenzie said, like Fernandinho, he got no recognition hardly, and he pretty much does the same job as Henderson to a certain degree. And I can name loads of other players.
Yeah, but if you're saying that about because he's English, Trent does that. Wan-Bissaka does that.
Because obviously these are like the bookies. Like, is it just like I said? Is it because he's English and we haven't had an English midfielder like this for a while, which is a bit worrying if Jordan Henderson's the most exciting midfielder we've got. But is it maybe because he is English? Because like I said, Fernandinho, if he had a season like Henderson's, there is no way on this earth Fernandinho would be first on a PFA Player of the Year shortlist. There's no way. So I have a feeling maybe because he's English, that might give him a bit of a benefit.
Yeah, like a couple of seasons ago when we won, well, 2 seasons ago, like we won the first 100 points. Fernandinho playing CDM, but he was mental in that season. He got no recognition.
Yeah, I feel like that has to have somewhat link into it, maybe because he's English. I think because it's like I said, say if he's maybe like a Brazilian or like a Belgian maybe, kind of like doing the centre mid and doing that job. I just don't feel like he'd get the recognition he gets just because he's English.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, obviously we'll have to see if they extend the season. If not, if they were to do the awards now, I'd just be very surprised if Henderson actually won it. Obviously, all respect to Henderson, he's a fantastic player. But when you're comparing him to players like Mane and De Bruyne and Salah and Aguero and all the kind of players, and he tops that list, it just sounds a bit off.
Yeah. Saying
that over this season, Henderson's been better than De Bruyne. That just doesn't sound right at all. It's like Henderson, yeah, they're 20 points clear. But if we talk, this is obviously an individual prize. This is off individual players.
Yeah.
So it
helps.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, I think Liverpool would be nowhere near where they are if it wasn't for Van Dijk, personally.
No, because the defence wouldn't be as strong.
Exactly. I feel
the defence would be easier to get through, and it won't make Alisson look as good either.
Because Alisson can be shaky sometimes.
I know.
On his day, he can be a bit of a liability. Not very often. Don't get those words twisted. Not very often at all. But I just, like I said, my argument would be for that is I feel like if he wasn't English, I don't think he'd get the recognition and the kind of the plaudits he gets now. I feel like 2 of us are going to have the same order and 1 of us aren't, but I'm going to ask you both to put them 3 in order of third to first, who you think should win. I'll go through mine first, and just to let you have a little bit of a think of who you put third, second, and third. For me, first, I'd go De Bruyne, just because I don't think he's not had the PFA Player of the Year. I think he was absolutely robbed of it last year by Van Dijk, and I think he deserves one. And the fact that City, you could say, struggled a little bit this season in terms of a bit of consistency. I feel like he's really been that shining light. That even though
the only one that's been consistent.
Yeah, like City haven't played great, but every single day or every single weekend, you go, De Bruyne had a good game though. Kind of like that. So I put De Bruyne first. I stick with Mane second, just because I think he's been the best out of those front 3. He could get into any front 3 in the world. Got obviously top goal scorer last year. Has continued that form, scoring 14 already. chips in with an assist. So yeah, I'd go with Mane, and obviously third I would, controversially with the bookies, I'd go with Jordan Henderson. Just for the main reason of, yes, he's had a good season. Liverpool have had a fantastic season, but I feel like as an individual player, I don't think he's been that special as what people are making out. But that's my opinion. I'll go with Harvey first. Who's your top three? Go from third first.
Third, I'd put Henderson. Second, I'd put De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And then third, I'd put Mane. First, I'd put Mane.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling you'd go with Mane first. If you were to put a value on Mane in this current market, how much do you think he would actually be worth? How good is he in terms of a value kind of perspective?
In this value market, I'd say he's at least 100 million plus.
Yeah, I'd say a lot more than that, to be fair. I feel like obviously I don't want this to sound like the wrong way, but he's getting older, if you know what I mean. He's not old, I'm not saying that, but I mean, when you're looking to splash the cash, they're always looking, like maybe 26, maybe under for the age. Obviously, he's getting on a bit, but I feel like if like a bid of like 150 million or something or more came in for Mane, I don't think many people would kind of go, "Whoa, that's a bit much for Mane." I feel like he's that big of a player. Obviously, it'd be 100 million guaranteed, but obviously, like you said, 100 million or more. Do you think there's been a few talks of him leaving Liverpool. Do you think that'll actually happen? Do you think he'll actually go now? Obviously, he might leave in the future, but now I feel like it's the wrong time.
I think he'll stay.
You don't know, do you? Because like he could like have his boyhood dreams, like play for Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, anybody. So if one of them clubs come in for him, he ain't gonna say no if that's his dream. And
as well, it's kind of like if they do win the league this season, that's kind of like everything checked off for Liverpool. Like in terms of the big trophies that you'd want to win there. Say if the offer did come in where Liverpool go, we can't really say no to this, and Mane's like, I'm happy to go because it's Real Madrid. There's no real reason why he shouldn't go if you look at it in that sense, because they would have won the Champions League, they would have won the Prem. Yeah, they wouldn't have done well in the FA Cup, but he never takes that seriously, does he, Klopp? So they never really had a chance of winning that anyway. Obviously, the League Cup for some teams are just nothing, and then couldn't win the Community Shield thanks to Walker's fantastic clearance off the line. So I feel like I don't think he will go personally, but I feel like if the offer was there, I don't think it's like 100%. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. I think Liverpool could easily be tempted by a good offer as well. Because now Liverpool have become a club which I think they struggled with in the past of actually being able to attract players. Where they've got a team now and a manager where players go, I'd like to play under him or I'd like to play with him. It's like under Brendan Rodgers. Yes, they nearly won the league, but they didn't really have players in the team because Suarez got sold, didn't they? And Sterling, and they never really had a player where players would go, oh yeah, I'd like to play under him or play with him. So I feel like that's where they struggle. But this time now, they've got a team where players will actually like to play there, and that'll attract obviously big names, which I don't think would ever replace Mane because I think he's a little bit irreplaceable in terms of what he brings. But I feel like they could easily bring in some kind of replacement for him if that was to happen. So obviously we'll have to see. We don't know on that, but that could happen. De Bruyne second as well. You put. I'm not going to disagree because I think Mane's equally had a good season like De Bruyne. Obviously, you put him above Henderson. Do you feel like I said, do you feel like it's just a bit weird saying Henderson has been a better midfielder or been a better player than De Bruyne this season?
Yeah.
I'm only saying that as well because it's an individual award. Because I feel like Henderson's looks better in a team than De Bruyne, but I feel like De Bruyne's look better as an individual. So is that why you kind of put him above him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
I do think that De Bruyne is them players. I think Henderson defence. I think in another De Bruyne will bring.
Yeah,
Henderson.
he has. I think like Henderson has more of like a, like obviously like you said, like defensive quality, and again it's a bit unfair on defensive minded players and kind of like midfield players, where we're kind of saying like it's usually attackers are kind of like better players in a way, because obviously they'll get like better stats and they'll have better records but again it's just like Henderson, man. It's like what? It's like I know he does all this defensive stuff, but still, like I don't even know. I'm a bit with you there. It's kind of like De Bruyne obviously just is a better player, and I think he's still. I know this is based off like a season, but I still feel this season he's been a better player, as good as Henderson's been, or has been as good as what some people are saying. So I can see arguments for both there. I do want to get onto another topic, so I'll just go to Kenzie quickly for your order of the top three. Who would you go with? I feel like I know what you're gonna say. But...
Third, I'd go Henderson, even though I probably wouldn't put him in the top three.
Yeah.
It'd probably be top 5.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Second, I'd go Mane.
Yeah.
And then first, I'd go De Bruyne.
Yeah. Similar reasons as what we've said. Do you think for that order, or is there any particular reason why you put someone in that position? Or...
No, I think you've covered it all.
Yeah. It's just interesting how all of us have put Henderson at the bottom, despite being put at the top by many people. I found that interesting. Obviously, it's all opinion based, and then obviously De Bruyne and Mane kind of took the two top places. So we'll have to see. We need to find out if the season's going to finish. We don't know much yet on that. They're going to try and get it I don't know if it's finished or started, or they're talking about June, like a month like that, trying to get it started again, or trying to get it finished.
I seen that the Bundesliga was, I think it was set to start in the 6th of June, I think.
Because what they need, I feel like next season, like the season after this, whenever it starts, I feel like you can kind of start it, kind of October, November. I feel like you can start it there, and just maybe get rid of like the League Cup for a season, maybe, or drop one of those.
Possibly, yeah, but it'd be a close one because obviously we've got the Euros next year.
That's what I mean. I feel like it's just going to be difficult. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds, really, what they can do, because obviously all they're interested in, a lot of the people involved are the money. There's the money side of it. So see how they kind of get around that will be interesting. So we'll just have to see. Obviously, when information comes out of when it's going to start, or when it starts, and when the podcast's still going, obviously that'll be a lot of episodes on. Obviously, we'll discuss that and how it will finish. So, 44 minutes in, for 43. This is kind of where we move into like a bit of like a debate kind of topic, a discussion topic. I said at the start of the episode we're going to do we're going to talk about best comebacks in football. There's quite a few. I've got some written down here. I'm just going to go through the ones I've got. If you can think of any more, let me know. So we've got obviously Aguero against QPR. Obviously 2 goals in 3 minutes. Won City of the League, first league in 40 odd years. I feel like that should be mentioned on its own. And then you've got obviously the Liverpool AC Milan Champions League final comeback from 3-0 down against one of the best Milan teams of all time to win that Champions League. We've got the Newcastle Arsenal 4-4 game in 2011 of the Premier League. Liverpool Barcelona Champions League last year, that 4-0 win at Anfield. Ajax Spurs, that 3-2 win from 2-0 down for Spurs. Last minute goal from Moura to send them into the Champions League final. Then you got the Barcelona PSG one from 2017, obviously a mad game that sent Barcelona through. Don't know how they did that, but they did. And then I don't think this will get really mentioned too often, but I thought it was an interesting one still. Reading against Arsenal in 2012, the League Cup.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I was thinking
5-7 result, or 7-5. So that is one 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, we've got 7. I do this in quite a lot of episodes. I like to whittle it down to like a top 3. So from saying them, anyone could chip in first. Is there any that kind of spring to mind straight away that goes, yeah, they should be in the top 3?
Obviously being a City fan, it's hard to say, but I actually, I think the United PSG game, Champions League, I remember watching it and it was just mad, like how they turned it around against such a big PSG side.
That's a good point. That in terms of like an aggregate comeback, I can definitely get behind that. That is with the team they had out as well.
I know everybody just wrote them off.
Yeah,
everybody just wrote them off. No one was expecting it. So
that's good. But I've also forgotten. I can't believe I actually forgot this one, even though I don't like to mention it too often. We don't mention it too often. But United Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Champions League final. Kind of similar to kind of City, how they did it against QPR. Got two late goals in the additional time. So that's added. So we've got 8.
Would you count? Obviously, I don't like saying it. Tottenham City Champions League, because obviously
it wasn't really a comeback, was it?
We were coming back and then they were coming back. Like, it was a bit weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that under comebacks, really, if I'm going to be honest. Maybe like, no, I just wouldn't put that under comebacks, I don't think. Right, let's try and get a top 3 out of the 8 we've got. I'm going to put one on straight away that I think needs to be in the top 3. Again, don't like saying it too often, but that Liverpool AC Milan comeback.
Yeah.
That I know it happened in 2005, so obviously I don't remember the game. I don't remember watching, all that. But you watch that like the highlights back, and you watch, like, you see the AC Milan team, the Liverpool team. How did they manage that? That is ridiculous, that comeback. The fact they were 3-0 down at halftime, they must have been so deflated, thinking, we've had this one of the biggest games of our careers, and we've bottled it within the first. It would have been about half an hour of the game. To then come back, to be able to last a whole 120 minutes of pressure, because obviously it led to extra time, to go through penalties, to have the bottle to win the penalty shootout. I think that really deserves a special mention.
I think that's part of Gerrard being the leader he is as well. Like, getting his team in at half-time, grilling them, and then coming out and doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like, because Gerrard scored one of the goals, I feel like that's why he gets mentioned, like such a big name. Because they're the games that you need those players to step up in and really become the leader and the captain. And that is one that he did ridiculously well. And obviously scored one of the goals. So I feel like that should make the top 3. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the greatest Champions League comebacks ever. So it's kind of hard if that wasn't in it. We'll rule off a few just quickly. We'll get rid of like Reading Arsenal. Fantastic game, but like when you talk about comebacks, that's not really one that comes to mind straight away. That's kind of one where you kind of remember later on in the conversation when you go, "Oh, do you remember this game?" It's kind of one of them.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Newcastle Arsenal as well. Again.
Yeah, get rid of that.
The game was obviously fantastic. 4-0 down at home to Arsenal.
It doesn't really mean anything, does it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. The meaning of the game didn't have much. That's what I kind of see in comebacks. I think that's one of the main checkpoints of what makes a really good comeback. The meaning of the game. What was the game? When? What was the teams like? So yeah, we'll get rid of that one as well. Any others you want to check off? It's kind of hard. We've got Liverpool, Barcelona 4-0 left. We've got Ajax Spurs 3-2. That's left. We've got Barca PSG 6-1. That's left. We've got the United comeback as well, and the Champions League final against Bayern Munich and the Aguero versus QPR or City versus QPR. Any that we can check off or put in straight away?
You see, I'm not saying it wasn't a but I think the Spurs.
Yeah, that's the next one I was going to say. I know. I didn't really want to say it.
Are better than it. That's what I think. I think it was good, but
yeah,
I think
I was actually really I don't know, angry when that happened because I wanted I
He's raging.
The teams they had, the team they had, they were all youngsters, and Like what they were doing bits, and I just wanted to win the competition.
The scenes, if Ajax get into that final, would have been 10 times better with Ajax.
Yeah,
they would have
completely.
actually gone at Liverpool. That would have been a good final. I kind of know, like, in a weird way, I agree with you, but I don't know why. It's like that comeback is amazing. If that happened to I feel like if it was anyone else other than Tottenham, that I'd have more of a respect to it. But I think the fact that it's like, I don't know why, it's weird. I don't think it should be the top 3 as well, despite how good it was.
I think it'd be more respected if Tottenham actually came out and give Liverpool a game.
Yeah.
I
feel like what they followed up with that performance,
that final
agree.
was pathetic.
It actually was. It was the worst final I've ever seen. And people don't actually understand, right? Yes, it was 2-0, but firstly, one was a penalty within the first minute. So that kills the game straight away.
Yeah.
And then the one was right at the end. When Spurs were nowhere near going to... Like, they weren't going to... Let's be honest, they weren't going to score.
Yeah.
Yes, they were pushing men forward. Obviously, they weren't going to score. So that was a embarrassing final beyond belief. So we'll check that one off. So we're left with Liverpool Barca 4-0, Barca PSG 6-1, United Bayern 2-1, and City QPR. So we've got 4 left, and we've got 1 in the top 3. Can we try and throw 1 into the top 3 at the minute? Any?
I'd put Barca against PSG.
Yeah.
In the top 3? Or
yeah, I'd put it in the top 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Harvey were you saying that, top 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel... I can see why people wouldn't have that one in, but I would have it in, mainly for the fact that they were, I think it was 4-0, wasn't it? And they were cruising to get back in it, and then PSG scored that away goal.
Yeah.
What effect that must have had on Barcelona, thinking, oh, God, just to make that 10 times worse. Literally, they were like, yes, we've got it now, momentum, 4-0, we're going to get extra time or, whatever, go through. And then you get an absolute punch in the stomach with an away goal, and then still come back from that. And I think it was actually 3-1 that happened. So to have scored 3 goals in the time they did against a decent PSG side. It's not like a random European team no one's heard of. A good PSG team with solid defenders. I think that has to be in there.
So we've got left.
So right, hold on. So let's just go through what we've got in the top 3. So we've got. We'll order them after. So we've got Liverpool, AC, Milan.
Yeah.
Barca, PSG.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like there's going to be a bit of debate coming on now because we have got some corkers left. Right. These are the ones left. We've got Liverpool, Barca 4-0. Second leg. We have got United, Bayern Munich Champions League final 99, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then City versus QPR. They're the 3. And from them historic games, we've got to pick one. And also, I want to add to the Barca PSG one, I think the fact as well, they scored 6.
Yeah.
I think that really makes it stand out for me, and the fact that they won it in the last minute as well.
Right, go on, Harvey.
Go on, right, yeah, we'll go round Harvey first. Out of those 3 games, which one is making it? It's a tough question. It really is. It's a tough one to whittle down, that one, because such strong arguments for all 3.
Yeah.
And as well, please, if you're watching it at this point, put your top 3 in for us. Out of the ones we've give, make your top 3 as well of top 3 best comebacks and put in an order, and see if you struggle as much as we are, because it is a tough question. So Harvey, have you got one?
I'm struggling between Liverpool game and United because nothing against City, but I think the fact that I mean it was a huge game.
One of the greatest ever finishes to a Premier League season.
The fact that I don't think QPR aren't as strong.
And they were down to 10
2 teams in both the games. Yeah.
I think again.
That's a good point, to be fair.
There's a strong argument for both, and as well, some people don't even label City's win as a comeback. if you know what I mean. They're more associated with a late winner than a comeback, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So everyone forgets that Dzeko goal.
It's a bit of both, isn't it? Because if you think about it, it's a late winner, and it's also a comeback because you've come back from 2-1 down.
Yes, it wasn't against a great QPR team. They were down to 10 men. They knew they were safe. So I think with those factors, I think we will just drop that one.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like if that was more of a comeback than a late minute, because obviously it's just remembered for Aguero's winner. So if it wasn't just remembered purely on that goal, I'd more push that to be in. But the fact that it was more of like a late minute winner, kind of with a comeback, it's not a comeback on its own. So we will, with a lot of regret, just push that away. Again,
that's where I'm gonna disagree with you.
I feel like this is an impossible question to do. Go on, why do you disagree? I disagree and agree. I'm just trying to make it fair.
That moment, like, you can give me any like disagreement, like any point that you've got, and it could be the best point in the world, but that moment is the best moment of my life, and I won't drop it.
Literally, it's like I wasn't very old when the goal happened, but I still remember where I was. It's like time stopped when he hit that ball. It is like everyone just kind of just froze. And
it's because I was at my dad's with my uncle, and he's a United fan. So
Jesus!
And as it went in, I just jumped on him.
Oh man, yeah, because I was actually talking to my dad about this. I think it was yesterday. I was in I think it was a working men's club or a pub, watching it in there, and these United fans were coming in, like before we'd scored. Like obviously they thought they won the league, you know, like going off their head, beers everywhere, you know, shoving it in, and we're just all like, oh no, these cannot win it. And then we've obviously gone on and won it the way we did. I think every single United fan on the planet had been shut up by that one moment by Aguero. For the sake of the top three, obviously Kenzie, you could have your own top three on that. We'll do that after, but I feel like it's just like a 3-person top three. We'll just drop it, just for the sake of this top three and trying to get it done. And then that leaves us with 2. Liverpool, Barcelona, and the United Bayern Munich. Straight away, I want to put the United Bayern one in there.
Yeah.
I just feel like that Liverpool Barcelona one was incredible, but I feel like it's hard because they both balance out. I was going to say because that winner from was it Sheringham who got the winner, or was it Solskjaer who got the winner?
I think it was Solskjaer. Yeah.
Was it Solskjaer?
Yeah, Solskjaer.
The fact that winner meant that they were the first treble winners in England to do the Prem, the FA Cup, and the Champions League all in one season. And the fact that you were playing against a very strong Bayern side, and the fact you were able to get 2 goals within literally like a minute, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I gravitate more towards that game than I do the Liverpool Barcelona game. Would anyone say the Liverpool game over that one, and why? Or are we all kind of more gravitating towards the United Bayern game?
I think the Liverpool Barcelona game was obviously it was a really good comeback against a good Barca side, but the United 99 was just mental.
And do you
feel how they got some goals so quick?
And do you feel like as well? Do you feel like the fact that it's a little bit more historic kind of gives it a bit more of an advantage? Because the fact that like people still talk about that now, to this day, and we're 20 plus years past it, gives it a bit more nostalgia. I think that's I think that's what gravitates it more for me. The fact that like now we're still talking about it, and how much of a significance that had on United at the time. Obviously, pretty much putting a stamp on the football world and saying we are the best, pretty much. And then again, obviously Liverpool fans would heavily argue for the Barcelona one, which I completely agree with because it pretty much led you to win the Champions League. Obviously, the first one since the other comeback, the AC Milan one, and obviously the heartbreak of the final the year before. I don't know. I just feel like that United one was just really special for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are we all going to agree? We're coming up to an hour. Obviously, I'm happy to go over an hour, but I just want to make sure we don't drag on for too long. So we're going to go for the United Bayern one as the third. Obviously, Kenzie, you'd put the City one in, but we'll put that along it. We'll put that with it. We'll kind of just put that as like a side note. Right, as a three, and then we'll do our separate ones. What order are we putting them in? I think straight away we put Barca PSG third.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
In terms of significance, he wasn't too significant, because he wasn't like a semi-final or a final. But still,
It's just a good comeback.
it was just a ridiculous. Like, no one could have written that. 2.
Yeah.
Oh. I'd personally put number 2 as the United one. I just think the Liverpool team compared to that AC Milan team, and the fact they were 3-0 down at half time, and somehow clawed some dignity and just hope to bring that back. I'd put that first personally. I don't know if any of you agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with Liverpool first. Liverpool,
Yeah.
Istanbul first.
Sorry, Harvey. I don't care what you say, mate. You've been outnumbered anyway. Right, so that's our one as a 3. I'll go through it now. So second is United Bayern, and then we'll go for our own in a second, and then first is Liverpool AC Milan 2005 Champions League. If you haven't seen that game, if maybe you're a younger viewer, please check the highlights out of that game. Then you'll know what we mean when we're saying how significant that was and how special that was. I know I don't like putting Liverpool at the top of many lists, but that really deserves a special mention. So our top 3 is as a group that we've come up together with is Liverpool AC Milan first, United Bayern in the Champions League final to finish the treble off as second, and the Barcelona PSG 6-1 as third. Right, Kenzie, I know you wanted to put the City one in the top 3, so what is your top 3 looking like? It's like a finalised top 3.
Oh, third.
Third, yep. Keep putting.
Barca PSG.
Yep.
Second, I'd go for Aguero goal.
Yeah, so City QPR, okay.
First, I'd go Liverpool Istanbul.
So you would take out the United, the Bayern one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I do rate the comeback. Like,
oh yeah, you're not a football fan if you don't, because that's just
yeah, but
yeah, I get what you mean.
That City QPR was just different for me, like, as a fan of City.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. As a group, we've come up with one that's kind of more related to what you meant in football, and this is what our personal ones allow. Like our own top 3 kind of brings, it's kind of more personal. You might be more connected to a comeback than what others might. So yeah, I completely agree with your top 3 and what it meant to you. So I see where you're coming from with that. Harvey, what is your top 3? If it was yours.
Third, I would put the Barca PSG game.
Okay.
Champions League. Second, I'd put the Liverpool League. And then first, I'd put United against Bayern.
Is that because you're a United fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Completely.
Yeah.
You can understand that though, because obviously United fan, like, that would be like one of his like moments.
Yeah, and it's mad because we weren't even alive for that. But it still has so much meaning to younger fans. That's the significance of that comeback, and the fact that it got in our top 2 as a group to make to make someone's top number 1 comeback. I don't think we can argue with that at all. For me, I'd go similar to Kenzie. I'd go United Bayern third, Liverpool AC. I go City QPR second. I'd go Liverpool first. I've kind of balanced that between personal meaning.
So would you take out
good
PSG?
So I'd take out Barca PSG just for the fact for me, I remember it as a good comeback, but I don't see it much more than just a comeback.
Yeah.
I see the other 3 as actual meaningful that had massive effects on a club.
Plus, them 3 have all like led to a trophy.
That's what I mean. They've led to big changes at a club and just big meaning. So that's the only reason I take the Barca PSG one out. But in terms of like a football game, that's definitely in the top 3 because 6-1. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's our top 3s. I just couldn't bring it to myself to put the City one first. As good as it is, and is probably the greatest ever moment in City's history ever. For me, that Liverpool AC Milan one.
If I was being biased, if my bias side come out,
If my bias side came out, City was straight at the top, straight away, 100%. But you've got to keep it balanced and fair, which we have done, and I respect you both for being, putting your opinion out for your team, but also balancing it out and looking at other, points of view. Completely respect that. Leave your top threes in the comments as well. I'll be very interested. I'll read any if they are put down there. This is where the episode is going to end. I want to say a massive thank you to Kenzie and Harvey for being on another one. Hopefully we'll be here on Thursday for the live one. Topic surprise, mainly because I don't know myself, but you'll find out. It'll be in the title. Make sure you come and check that one out. Put your notifications on when you subscribe. We don't just say that so it helps. That's more helping you. Putting the notification on, you don't have to keep checking. Stress free. Just do it. It'll help you. It will help in the long run. Thank you. Obviously, Harvey and Kenzie said that. Make sure you're there on Thursday. There'll be another pre-recorded one next Tuesday. Make sure you check that one out. But thank you for watching. Again, make sure you're on that Thursday live stream. And see you Thursday.